others can come on up and line up behind Paul.
For the record, Paul Dixon, Clark County. I will say that when we discussed this at our advisory board meeting, Commissioner Valentine was at the meeting and attended, and he can back up or correct me if I misrepresented anything here too. We went off the support material given directly to us. And Jeremy, you asked some clarifying questions of Dr. Moldy. And a couple of the reasons why the Clark County CAB did not support this petition and recommends to you do not support it. One is when they went from coyote calling contest to mammal calling contest, it spread to, we have a lot of contests out there where taxidermists will do things like, and this is a discussion we have with no clarification. They'll basically say for the largest antelope, deer, or elk, we'll give a free mount to the person who brings in the largest one to our taxidermy thing, and that becomes a contest. The guy sitting at elk camp basically saying, I bet you I can shoot a bigger elk than you in weight or size or whatever, that becomes a contest. By changing it from coyote to mammal, without clarification that was very clear in the documentation, which a lot of my CAB members did not feel was well written, they felt that was one thing that led them to believe that you could not go there. I brought up the argument, and because I've talked to people in other states in their advisory boards, is that when you have an unprotected animal, such as the coyote, and you're trying to make legislative decisions about oversight or rulemaking on it and make new regulations, until you have our legislature agree that you can basically regulate an unprotected animal, I don't think you can go forward with the concept until you have that piece, because in other states, although California has done it, other states like New Mexico and Michigan have not, because their legislatures will not allow you to write regulations about an unprotected animal. If it's unprotected, that means that anybody at any time can go out and kill it, because it's unprotected. And so when you start writing regulations and asking to do things for an unprotected animal and you don't have legislative backdrop for that, that's where I think, and Dr. Moldy said in his presentation, we don't think that that's important to change its status from unprotected to protected. I think that that's key to find out whether our legislature would even go forward with allowing us to write regulations on an unprotected animal, because there's so many caveats and nuances. And for those reasons that I've mentioned, the Clark County CAB did not support this petition and recommended to the commission that they not. Thank you.
Okay, next county advisory board.
Kathy Smith, representing the County CAB. We really didn't have much discussion about this the other night because we'd already discussed it in the March meeting past. It was voted to decline the petition by a vote of 2 to 3. We had 2 members absent. Do you want me to go ahead and give my comments now, or would you prefer I come back?
Please come back. Let's get through the CAB comments, and then we'll bring everyone up for public. And see, that reminds me, Suzanne, could you mark that Vern or Mr. Winder was representing Elko CAB and Elko? I think we missed him maybe on the roll call.
Okay.
Just for the minutes.
Craig Burnside, Douglas Cab. And I have only one comment for myself, so I'll share that while I'm here, Jeremy, if that's all right with you. And I'll preface that by saying I instead of we.
Okay.
I agree with a lot of the ethical issues that Dr. Moldy and the petition proponents brought up. With that, at our meeting Tuesday night, discussion centered largely around and as Paul said, we were going off of the background material we had, centered around the whole slippery slope thing. Historically, these types of things can snowball, and it's like, where does it stop? I mean, there's a chucker tournament in Battle Mountain. There's fishing derbies and fishing tournaments that happen all over. Where does it stop? So, with that discussion, even though we said, you know what, PR-wise, these types of things can probably do a better job and present what's happening in a less objectionable format. We voted to recommend to you to deny this petition.
County advisory board.
For the record, Rob Beamer, representing the Carson City County Advisory Board. We too had a number of calls from sportsmen as well as the public. We had a number of folks actually attend our CAB meeting here this week. Majority of those were sportsmen that expressed disdain and of opposition to this petition. With that, there was two CAB members that received multiple phone calls and emails with regard to their citizens of Carson City or in our area, their opposition or in favor of the petition. I think there was a total of 17 calls or emails that we received, all in opposition of this petition. And I think those people that did give us opposition, the ones that actually came forward with some substance to back up their opposition, mainly was that the petition is poorly written. There was one gentleman that said that it doesn't take into consideration the demographics of Nevada and what our topography is and what our wildlife that we have here and the management plan that we have here. It holds a lot of science from other regions throughout the United States. And so with that, the County Advisory Board voted unanimously to oppose the petition to ban wildlife contests.
Are there any other county advisory boards? Come on up, guys.
Thank you, Larry Allen, Humboldt County, for the record. We recommend and voted unanimously to deny the petition, mainly just based on the language is too broad. It's poorly written. Thank you.
For the record, Corey Lytle, Lincoln Cab. A lot of this is exact verbiage from the way we voted in March, and I'll read it for the record. Lincoln Cab strongly opposes the petition for the following reasons, and I'll use coyote. I don't need to use the term mammal. We're basically talking one and the same in terms of the petition. It's a non-game species. There's no need to regulate coyote hunting in any form beyond current laws and regulations which are in place. Contests for and the coyote resource itself provide an additional and exciting form of non-game hunting opportunity and recreation, notably for youth. They also promote friendly competition among sportsmen, contribute to local economies, especially in the rural areas, and they provide income for the value of their pelts. The questionable public display of harvested coyotes is certainly not condoned by the large majority of sportsmen who hunt them. These unfortunate portrayals, although small in number, when you look at it as a whole, they are small in number. They're more often than not taken out of context, and they're negatively publicized. These contests are similar to fishing derbies, chucker contests, you name it, big buck contest, and they are part of the sporting culture and lifestyle of which they were born. And I'll add, these cultural differences that we're talking about, this is all it is. This is culture, okay? Socially acceptable activities. It's all up to interpretation. Where you live, how you grew up. When I hear terms such as values being eroded, I grew up with a certain set of values. You guys all grew up with a certain set of values. These people grow up with certain sets of values. And in some cases, you can't put right or wrong. And especially in this case, you cannot put regulation to something like this. These contests happen. Science can do what it does. We have scientific studies that show certain things and population trends, and on top of that, there are dozens of other variables that come into play with those types of studies. The coyote, to me, I have more respect for a coyote than I do most other animals. You'll ask a lot of sportsmen how can you just kill those things? It's one person's perception that you're indiscriminately killing that coyote. And it's one person's perception that you may be taking a picture of that. These guys that won that Elko contest, that's great. Just because they take a picture with a handful of coyotes, they're villainized. Okay? I saw things on the petition about Cecil the lion, and I don't even want to get into that because there is a truth to that story. And anybody that wants to come back and talk to me about it, I'll let you know the real truth. This petition needs to be needs to be voted down.
Additional county advisory boards. Glenn, you might be it.
Glenn Bunch, Mineral County. I went through the agenda to make up what we were going to hold a meeting on this month. And there was only 2 items that stood out that I felt we would be asked for input on, and this was one of them. So it was my agenda item. It was my first one on the agenda. The agendas were posted legally, the amount of time, the community, and the places I always post them. We got the coverage that we could get. There were a lot of other meetings. It was on Facebook. It was mentioned that hunters could go to their meetings. My meeting wasn't that well attended, as usual. And the consensus of the discussion in the group was, if it ain't broke, just don't fix it. They're not having that big of impact by having these contests. And my group recommended don't accept the petition. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Did I miss any county advisory boards? Okay, with that, I'm going to open it up to public comment. And what I would ask is if folks would just come up and line up. That way we can move through quickly. Again, Commissioner Wallace will hold up the card when you're at 30 seconds left on your 3 minutes. If you're representing a group, please state that clearly so we know to give you the appropriate time. So come on up. Not everyone at once. Don't be shy. No, we're not going to call them. We're just going to line up and just state your name for the record, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Linda Platchon. I'm from Sparks, Nevada. The coyote and unregulated thrill kill contests must be banned. These contests are proven barbaric, inhumane, and insensitive. The unnecessary slaughter send a message to our children that wildlife is of no value. It desensitizes children to animal suffering by turning the coyote and other Nevada wildlife thrill kills into a sport for profit in many cases. This indiscriminate wildlife thrill kill sport of killing coyotes and other wildlife is something Nevada should not tolerate, and most wildlife defenders and the public in general vehemently oppose. Several weeks ago, the shooting and killing of a coyote was broadcast on the local TV news. It was very disconcerting. The defenseless, beautiful animal was hunted down and brutally shot in the head. The coyote stumbled around, not knowing what had happened, twitched and jumped for some time as if it was being electrocuted, and then it finally fell dead. It was horrifying. It was very painful for the animal, not to mention those who viewed it, who viewed this travesty, as the thrill killers call it, for sport or contest. Children should never be exposed to this. I was a teacher for 34 years, and I would never want any of my students to have seen that horrible, horrible. Thank goodness it was on the TV news. This practice of kill thrill fest is certainly not effective or wise wildlife management. Coyotes can be relocated to BLM land once they are spayed and neutered to live without being recklessly and unnecessarily hunted and slaughtered. Coyotes are predators that control the rabbit and rodent populations. Their habitat, especially with construction and expansion of homes and apartments in the Spanish Springs area in particular, have been destroyed. The animals are only searching for food so they can survive. I urge the Wildlife Commission to ban immediately these cruel kill thrill atrocities for fun and profit. The wildlife in our state should be protected and cherished, not destroyed for enjoyment or the thrill kill contestants. Coyotes and wildlife matter to so many of us. Thank you.
Next public comment.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, my name is Karen Jacobs, for the record. My organization is Tactical Team for the Protection of Animals, All Animals, TTPA. Why are coyotes and other species that are on the list for trophy hunts not protected by our local and federal animal cruelty laws? They should be. Why do only certain animals get that luxury, while other animals have to worry that there are certain individuals out there to make money on trophy hunts, which are also called contests. Oregon and California have outlawed this terrible practice. You could say that they respect the lives of animals that live in those states. In other words, they care. Does Nevada care? I'm going to say no, because we've been down this road before. The only ones who do care are the people who are bringing this in front of you today, like myself and Nevada Wildlife Alliance. There are some other entities who care about these animals as well. These killing contests must end now, today. Shooting wildlife in the hundreds for what? Not food, but something more sinister, money and prizes. I am going to ask this board to please outlaw these trophy hunts and contests, and I'm going to tell you why. First, this is very unethical. Whoever said it is okay to hunt coyotes and other animals with a price on the animal's head knows nothing about following the law. This is a form of gambling, and there are strict laws about gambling. There are very strict laws in regards to how human remains are disposed of. Why are these laws not in place for these trophy hunts, contests? They are just dumped in the desert. That is total disrespect for each and every animal shot at these trophy hunts. Then there is the problem of other animals bringing diseases from the rotting corpses and brought back to communities by birds and other animals. This could pose an emergency health situation. It has come to my attention that young children are attending these kills. How are children, young or older, supposed to learn that just killing for the pure sport of killing is okay? How are they going to learn to respect and love and take proper care of animals if this is what they are taught? We cannot have this. I am bringing an animal abuse cruelty program to the students of the Washoe County School District. All 105 schools. My teachers are hired and are writing this animal abuse cruelty curriculum as we speak here today. This will be in Washoe County School District by August 2016, K through 12. Children must be taught to respect all animal life. This is important for them as children and going forward as adults in society. Serious emergency implications on the environment. If these trophy hunt killings don't cease, the rodent population, gophers, rabbits, snakes, etc., will skyrocket, overtaking farmers' crops. The damage will be high, as well as a danger to people and pets. From so many mice, the Hanta virus could return, become rampant. Rabies could become rampant. Coyotes, foxes, and other animals keep all this at bay. Most of these animals eat insects, like grasshoppers, locusts, crickets, beetles. If all the animals are gone that eat these pests, you will see a surge in starvation for people because these insects will eat all of our crops. Members of this board, I'm going to ask you to do the right thing today by granting in our favor to make all trophy hunts illegal in the state of Nevada. I have also been in contact with the Federal Bureau investigation. We hope that at some point we can get this on the top tier felony. Thank you for your time today.
And if you could provide your written testimony to our recording secretary, I'd appreciate
Yes, I have a copy.
it. Next public comment.
My name's Debbie Taylor. You know, just because we can do things doesn't mean it's morally right to do things. I think it's our responsibility to value life, whatever that life is. I think to go out and just indiscriminately wipe out coyotes just because you can shoot them lacks personal integrity, it lacks compassion. And I just believe that it's plain wrong. I mean, if you guys really think you need to manage the coyotes, then you shoot tags. If you want to have contests about, hey, I got the biggest coyote, do it that way. But what's happening, it's outrageous. And is there an impact? Yeah, I live out in the country. I've been overrun with rodents this year, like I've never been before.
Okay, thank you. Next public comment.
Chairman Drew and Commissioners, I'm David Von Segern from Reno, Nevada. I'm here today speaking for our nearly 4,500 Nevada members of the Toyabe chapter of the Sierra Club. We see coyote killing contests as an undesirable component of our interaction with wildlife. The chapter believes that coyote killing contests are a black mark on sportsmen, on the Wildlife Commission, on the Nevada Department of Wildlife, and the citizens of Nevada. Our club does not support hunting events that promote killing of any animal in excessive manner, such as when hunters are encouraged to amass the largest number of dead animals possible for accolades or prizes. Such contests disturb many members of the public. Coyote contests may have been historically acceptable, but I believe they are not no longer acceptable to the majority of people in Nevada. Furthermore, there has been no evidence to date that justifies a coyote killing contest is able to protect wildlife or livestock. The Tioga chapter therefore supports a ban on wildlife killing contests and similar events that target coyotes or other animals. The club understands, however, that there are some exceptions and formal regulations that may be warranted to continue to allow more acceptable contests such as fishing derbies. We also recognize that there's a need for predator control in various places, but contests and similar events are not the appropriate means. Lethal predator control should be undertaken in an orderly, regulated manner based on current and peer-reviewed science when other non-lethal methods have failed. So we ask the Wildlife Commission to now examine its statutory powers and see if it can ban wildlife coyote killing contests in Nevada. And I want to add to Chairman Drew made an important question too. I think, can this be done by other means than regulation? And I would say what I want the Wildlife Commission to do is take ownership of this issue. I think we have a festering sore on the body of Nevada, and I think we need to take some action. If you can come up with a proposal that would eliminate these contests through education or however, I'm skeptical, but I think that might be possible.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Laura Hogan. I'm speaking on my behalf. I live in Reno. Just as there is the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, I am asking you to please accept the spirit of ethics in this petition. Dr. Moultrie left out pictures that I have seen of unnecessary brutality, and that's why I attended the meeting today. The unnecessary brutality of the way the coyote carcasses are thrown around and disrespectfully clarifies the intention of the petition. I support hunting. I respect hunting of any animal that's going to help someone survive. And I want to show respect and appreciation of hunters. It's just the killing of the coyotes in those contests, or any killing of any animal in such a disrespectful manner, which is happening in our state. Please support the ethical treatment of all animals, and do it any way you want with laws, education, but please accept that I'm also a constituent, and thank you for your time in this manner. Thank you.
Next public comment.
I'm Barbara Godwin. I live in Sparks, just here representing myself. I really think these coyote hunting contests put Nevada in a very bad light, and I think the people that organize them recognize that by calling them calling contests instead of killing contests or hunting contests. I think Nevada's working very hard to attract new business to this into the state, and I think a lot of these people would view this very unfavorably. It's barbaric, and it, as was mentioned earlier, it's a cultural thing, and that's true. It is a cultural thing, but at one time, dogfights and cockfights were culturally accepted, and they are no longer culturally accepted. And I think the time has come for coyote killing contests with prizes and beer and stuff. It needs to be not culturally accepted anymore either. That's it.
Okay, thank you. You can leave your card on the podium.
Oh, okay.
We'll collect them at the end. Next public comment.
Hi, my name's Kim Jardine Riley, and I'm a homeowner, a taxpayer, a grandmother. I've lived in Nevada most of my life. I love Nevada. I'm not against hunting, but I am against the good old boy network that feels it's their right to take the Nevada wildlife and kill it. It belongs to all of us. It seems like here in 2015, it's a barbaric practice, and we need to learn to live with our wildlife. I see the smirks from the good old boys. I know that you guys don't want to hear what us women have to say, but wildlife belongs to all of us, and wildlife don't need man, we need wildlife. It's a part of our culture. It's a part of everything that's good for humans. We all have pets. We all love animals. Coyotes have killed my cats. So what have I done? I've done things to protect my yard. I'm not against hunting at all, but I am against this barbaric war against coyotes, this slaughter. When I drive through the Big Smoky Valley and I see a sign, midnight, coyote kill, it pisses me off. And I'm shaking as I stand here because it takes a lot for us women to come up here and say things to you at this good old boy network that really needs to end. You guys need to look inside yourself and think about the future of wildlife. If we have no coyotes, then we have rabbits. Then you're going to kill all the rabbits? Then you're going to kill everything? Is it just a killing season? If minorities were out here doing these kills without permits, I'm sure you guys would go attack. You wouldn't have it if Native Americans or people of color were out there doing this without permits. But you guys are out there killing without permits. And I also work for a company that provides the military with their clothing. There's strict guidelines for the military's clothing. And it has to be made in the USA. And there's strict guidelines. And I work for a company, we look after our military. It's important to take care of our people. So please support this petition. Please stand up. Look inside, you guys. Do something, please. Quit listening to the good old rednecks. I don't know how to reach them, maybe through their children. I don't know, but I know that they're probably really good people with good hearts, but we need to look at the future for change. Thank you.
Next public comment.
Chairman Drew and members of the commission, I'm Cynthia Kimball, representing myself. I'm a member of a family of hunters. As a matter of fact, my son was fortunate enough to get an elk tag this year, very first time, and he shot his first elk, which will provide countless meals for his family and his friends. We strongly oppose hunting that serves no purpose, is backed by no evidence of benefit to Nevadans, and is demonstrably inhumane, as are wildlife killing contests involving mammals. Please initiate regulatory action.
Thank you.
I'm Trish Swain. I'm representing the League of Humane Builders of Nevada, and therefore I may take a little more than 3 minutes, Mr. Chairman, at your discretion. And so many good points have already been made. I will not rehash them. I will not rehash the point about the rebound phenomenon where coyote populations are involved. And it is very difficult to contain this discussion because all kinds of other considerations come in about social issues. And I firmly believe that public education is the way to overcome superstition, prejudice, fear, and misunderstanding of the coyote. And through the Nevada Wildlife Alliance, we will offer a program targeting various Nevada neighborhoods where the fears crop up because somebody saw a coyote or somebody's cat was taken, which is unfortunate. Of course, we're sorry when a pet is taken, but there are techniques to deal with those situations. And we firmly believe that public education is the answer. And so you are asked to support us, provide public education. I would hope that is the case. My suspicion and my fear is that you want to take apart this petition, and that is your prerogative if that's what you choose to do. But you might think then of the difference that would be made if there was better public education, less fear and less prejudice against the coyote. And of course, there's the fact that it's only once in a while mentioned that the very people who come in and complain about being overrun with rodents are the people who have already killed off all the coyotes. So that always gets to me personally. And your mission statement is to protect, preserve, manage, and restore wildlife and its habitat for its aesthetic, scientific, educational, recreational, and economic benefit to the citizens of Nevada and the United States, and to promote the safety of persons using vessels on the waters of the state. Okay, I think that it is very hard for me to understand why anyone would support unregulated hunting where you do not have to go through the regulations of the Department of Wildlife, you do not have to get a tag and so forth. I really don't understand that, and asking you as individuals if you would go out and join one of these unregulated coyote hunts. I have a feeling, I may be wrong, but I just have a suspicion that none of you would, that most of you pride yourselves on being ethical hunters, and that I think you would distance yourself from any personal involvement with one of these hunts, and I think that's something that needs to be looked at. Why would you be a sponsor of one of these hunts? Why would you be a participant? My guess is that none of you at this table would be. So that is one of the things I want to say. I want to say that we of the Nevada Wildlife Alliance can offer positive solutions for this, which is in many respects a cultural difference. And I think through public education, done on the neighborhood level, done with small groups at a time, I think that we can help very much to mobilize public opinion, eliminate this fear and suspicion of the coyote as a representative of I don't know what, but see him as an animal who has obviously his place in the ecosystem and right now is serving the role of an apex predator in our state and is a very valuable part of our ecosystem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Bobby McCollum, and I support the petition. When the March petition hearing was held, the majority of the people spoke in favor. But I didn't get the feeling that this commission believed that the general public does not want this, and I wonder why. So you commissioners obviously hold the opinions of the county cabs with great regard. You look to them for information and guidance. After the March Wildlife Commission meeting, I looked online for the minutes of the various cab meetings because I wanted to see what discussion had occurred. None of the minutes that I have, and I printed them off here, contain much discussion other than the cab members expressing their personal opinions in favor of allowing these killing contests. The cab's purpose is laid out in NRS 501.297. The cab's duties are to solicit and evaluate local opinion. The statute does not require cab members to solicit and evaluate the opinion of only sportsmen or to relay a personal opinion to the commission. I found on page 12 of NDOW's Cab Roles and Responsibilities Manual the following. Two equally important responsibilities of a cab member are representation and communication. It's up to you to understand and fairly represent the views of your neighbors. You should be active in your community, be aware of the total range of viewpoints. It's not limited to sportsmen viewpoints. So how can the cabs collect public opinion? It's a good question. Page 13 of the manual, there are 5 steps listed to help the cab members manage and resolve issues. One of the steps is to communicate by finding other people affected by this problem or need in order to hear their views on wildlife management. Seek out the places where people in your community meet to share ideas. 2 of the examples are the local market and the daycare center. I can't recall ever seeing a cab member soliciting a public opinion about coyote killing contests anywhere in my community. Merely posting a cab agenda and waiting to see who shows up is not seeking out places where people in your community meet to share ideas. Why would an average person think their opinion matters on NDOW's website? It's written there that sportsmen's opinions on issues are gathered. To those who make the comparison between these contests and fishing contests, I would ask how many dead coyotes are taken home to feed families, or how many coyotes are caught and released. These killing contests are a huge liability to this commission. How will you be perceived by the public if a problem occurs with the money collected, or someone's hurt, or a crime is committed? You will be looked to as the government entity which allowed this activity to continue indefinitely. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Bill Chamberlain, United States Wolf Refuge. I've been dealing with natural resource issues for probably 30 some odd years. I have dealt with states all over the West: Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Arizona, New Mexico. And I speak to both sides of many of the wildlife related issues. And I hear absolutely despicable comments from both sides. I am one who is always trying to draw common ground, amiability, consensus. For you to reject this proposal, what it does is closes the door on all future discussions, modifications, whatever is necessary to address the concerns of both sides of this issue. I strongly encourage you to take and accept this petition. The reason being is Don has eloquently overwhelmed me with his science, of which I had prepared to present to you today. The ethical, the moral, the cultural issues of this have all been well addressed. We all need to address all sides of this issue. To close this door, to reject this petition, would do that. In my discussions with these other states, the state of Nevada always comes up. They always seem to be the brunt of jokes. This is the irrational behaviors of Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming. Let's make Nevada better than they are. Accept this petition and go forth with its resulting process. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Rex Flowers, representing Coalition for Nevada's Wildlife. We would ask you to not accept this. Please deny this petition on the grounds that it is overreaching. You've heard that it is very well defined. There is no slippery slope. You also heard one of the presenters tell you today that the best that we can get out of this is your acceptance of the petition for coyotes only. We're willing to start with that. That is a slippery slope in and of itself. Given what has gone on in the U.S. 9th District Circuit Court, getting a lot of liberalism in there. Once you make a law, it's up to interpretation down the road. We don't know where that interpretation is going to go. You need to also understand, a few years back, you had a group come to you, Trail Safe. They had a proposal, they wanted some safe places to hike back in the early 2000s. The trapping community was willing to meet with them and go over that and establish places, safe havens for them. Well, in 2000 and I think it was 11 or so, we had a commission come on board that was willing to give away anything and everything to those that were against trapping. We put ourselves in a real bind. So, again, please deny the petition. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Tina Weiner. I'm a resident of Reno, Nevada. It's the first time I've ever addressed this commission in any way, and I came here to become educated on this process and to understand these issues. I am personally against killing contests, but I'm more interested in the due processes and how we manage our state and state business. And as a single person, just a citizen of the state, I'm still learning how your processes work and how the processes of the cabs work. As a result, I'm concerned because I don't want to encourage any state to make unnecessary law, but at the same time, I don't understand how issues become part of the public dialogue if we don't consider regulation in certain areas. And in this particular area, it might be germane to consider this petition and take it up, because it might be time to go through the process and see if it can stand up on its own, and if regulation and fact can be entertained and can consider all parties and their interest. So I go on record as stating I want you to pick up the petition so the dialogue can start. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cheyenne Newford, and I'm a student at UNR. I've been living in Palomino Valley my entire life. I've found wildlife and nature surrounding me. My grandfather, a true Nevadan, taught me and my older brothers how to hunt, how to live off the land, and how to coexist with the wildlife. From learning from a real hunter, I understand how to respect wildlife. Growing up in the middle of the desert, I gained knowledge to live with wildlife and not fear it as many do. These wildlife hunts are completely disgraceful to the fundamentals of being a Nevadan. I'm embarrassed and outraged that these contests are still going on. It's been proven that they don't work. Population control management doesn't work. So why are they going on to profit ammo companies for prizes? That's so wrong on so many levels. It's not hunting. This isn't hunting. It's psychopathic behavior and should not be allowed. If you value the reputation of being a Nevadan, please don't let this continue. There's a whole new generation that's not going to stop fighting for this. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioner and the Commission members. My name is Madonna Dunbar. I'm a resident of Incline Village, Nevada, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my husband. I'm asking you to look further at this topic. I'm asking you to support the petition. If the language is too broad, you as the Commission have the ability to work to amend that language to be more specific to coyotes if that's what you're more comfortable with. And the reasons why I feel that you should continue the dialogue are, one, I'm a boater and fisher person, although I don't catch much. I tend to feed the fish more than anything. But we are constituents. I don't have a hunting license, but I am a boater. And again, both my husband and I have fish. It's about the reputation of sportsmen. You've seen me before talking about the bear hunt and bear management issues. These contests are not for sustenance hunting. They don't help promote the sportsman ethic that is so highly regarded by the Commission and by Nevada sportsmen. This is bad for Nevada tourism. You have to think broader to the general public of the state. Yes, this may bring a very small amount of money to very select areas, but you're also getting a lot of public feedback from state residents and international visitors who are our economy in this state as well. So I would ask you to continue the dialogue rather than reject the petition at this time. And the science also supports the fact that it's not a good management tool, the population studies, all that Don did a great job presenting. So with that, I'll close. Thank you.
Speaking on behalf of myself and my husband. Coyote killing contests are not about biological science, and they're not unsustainable. They represent a deeper question about who we are as humans and where we think society should be heading. While I accept wildlife management at the population level, I also believe there's an intrinsic worth in an individual animal beyond its utilitarian value. Coyotes, like many other predators, have social networks, and there are ramifications beyond the single animal that is killed. I understand when people moved into the West, they took with them the attitudes of human dominion and rugged individualism. I understand the cultural, even genetically based need for tribalism. These characteristics should be taken into account, but you do not need to surrender to them all the time. I found it interesting that all the commissioners who commented at the last petition hearing made it clear that they did not participate in coyote killing contests. So clearly there is some degree of disapproval. But most of you actually condoned the activity at the last meeting. Do you really mean to condone an activity that has prizes for the youngest coyote, the biggest coyote, the three-legged coyote, or the pregnant coyote? We regulate social behavior all the time. Domestic animal abuse, cockfighting, dogfighting, gambling, etc. You have the authority as a commission to regulate non-game animals. If you can regulate my transportation or possession of non-game animals, such as a coyote, per NAC NO 3.11, you can regulate killing contests. I worry that wildlife management has lost its soul. It focuses so much on population, it totally forgets the individual. The psychological implications for treating some animals only as nuisances are large. When departments and hunters favor certain species over others and allow them to be minimized to points and cash prizes, it is only natural that disrespectful activity results. I have read several articles written by hunters on how hunting has changed for the worse, both from technological advances and attitude. I know some of you may share this view. The question is, are you to continue to condone these controversial practices that tend to separate you further from changing societal norms? If you are complicit, you are just as guilty. Think carefully about your decision and ask yourself, despite all the time committed and hard work you do for wildlife conservation, in the bigger picture, are you really hurting the future of this department and Nevada's wildlife? Please remember that Nevada is the third most urbanized state in the country. Please accept this petition and we can find a way to end these contests together. I'll just leave you with a couple of thoughts. One, I will quote Mr. Beamer, who recently spoke. Be ethical and be what a good sportsman is all about. And to paraphrase our new Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, a neglected populace will gum up the works. A respected populace will work in good faith. Thank you.
Come on up. If there's others who want to make comment, please get in line now because we want to keep this rolling. I know everyone's time is valuable. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Bob Brunner. I would like to speak to some of the premises of the offer, rights of small groups, and then also why I think you need to reject this. The author assumes that people that do these contests are sportsmen. The author assumes that these furs are not harvested. The author assumes that people who do these contests, if they knew that they were actually increasing the population, if they did this, that they would have a problem. Premises that this is built on are all wrong. Okay, how does a teacher explain a coyote contest to her student? Good question. How does a teacher explain a transgender bathroom to a student? Now, those people have rights. The rights of the minority. Okay? The rights of the individual. All right? If the author wants to have a sex change, I do not have the right to tell them you can't do that. The rights of the few. You can do whatever you want to do. Go right ahead. Boards, legislators, the president, the law says you have rights here and you get to do what you want to do. Finally, the reason I think you need to reject this is because it is overreaching. We've already heard in testimony right here that already they want to go ahead and go after all contests. We just heard that. Not just coyote contests, but all contests. This is a stepping stone to restrict your ability to kill mammals. Okay, you have the right and the responsibility for the state to do that. You need to make sure that you have the right to say yes when we're going to do this, no when we're not going to do this, and control populations and manage the wildlife as you've been put to charge.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Stuart White, speaking on behalf of myself, almost a lifelong resident of Nevada. I raised in Wells and Wadsworth and Fernley and now Reno. Speaking on behalf of the petition, I think there's been some kind of misapprehension of what it means if you as a commission were to accept this petition today. A lot of people seem to think that it means, oh, no more coyote killing contests. And then they talk about a slippery slope, a stepping stone, barring other contests of elk and all this kind of stuff. It's just not the case. What you do is you accept the petition and you direct your staff to see if they can't come up with a suitable, appropriate regulation that would stop the coyote killing contest or mammal killing contests and avoid in some fashion those slippery slopes. You have professional staff attorneys, you have long-term members of your staff that know how to word these regulations. It's not the end of the world if you accept this petition today. You send it to your staff, and then I think the Las Vegas cab person said something about you can't even do this because they're unregulated. I think if that were the case, I think your attorney would have already told you there's not even a need to talk about this petition. I think you know you have the ability to regulate this type of killing of our wildlife. The soon-to-be grandfather rancher in Elko indicated that you need a man to regulate wildlife, and that this was a good thing that they could regulate with these coyote killing contests. Of course, the science shows that's not the case, but you have to remember that before the white man came, you couldn't run across the Ruby Valley on the back of some mule deers or mountain lions or coyotes. They regulated themselves. there were good years and bad years, but it was when man came into being, over here the white man came and started shooting everything with our guns, like when we got the Transcontinental Railroad, shooting the bison herds, great herds as you rode by in the train. It was things like that it's because of man that you exist to regulate the wildlife taking in Nevada and keeping it healthy. Okay, so
Got about 10 seconds to wrap.
okay, so at any rate, I urge you to accept the petition. I know for some of you it may be difficult criticism when you get home, but you're not here without a lot of knowledge about being criticized for what you do. And I'm sure it's an important thing for the general public to adopt this petition and get into the staff level to see what you can do about these contests. Thank you very much.
Chairman Drew and members of the commission, I want to thank you, Elaine Carrick, I'm speaking for myself. I'd like to thank you all very much for listening to all of our comments today. We can probably all agree on one thing, making decisions on controversial issues is never easy. And I know that you've probably all gotten an earful from your hunting friends and asking you where they would want you to vote on these issues. So that's certainly, excuse me, putting a lot of pressure on you all. But what I've heard, and I'm sure you have too, about the overreaching of this petition, and I've heard the word anti-hunting petition, and that's really what I want to address today in my couple minutes. You've been chosen, you as hunters have been chosen to be on this commission, and I think you'll understand this bigger picture of what I'm going to distinguish here. What the non-hunters are really saying is that coyote killing contest is not really hunting. It's not hunting in that acceptable sense of the sport. You've got acceptable hunting here, you've got coyote contests over here. And I think most people can understand the sport of hunting, to say hunting deer and elk during the season, getting a tag. But we simply cannot accept the indiscriminate killing of coyotes for this fun and prizes, which is what they're doing. And to me and others, this killing is not hunting in really any acceptable definition of the sport. It's a wasteful slaughter of wildlife. As members of the Wildlife Commission appointed by our governor, the public looks to you to make the best decisions for our wildlife. And I think that's really what we are all here for today. The public wants all of our wildlife to be treated with respect. Coyote killing contest fails any test for being an acceptable hunting practice. And that's really the simple reason that I and so many of us are here. Please vote yes to approve this petition. Your yes vote is the right decision for our wildlife, and I thank you very much.
Miss, I believe you've already made a comment, so please clarify.
Mr. Chairman, yes, I would like to add, for the record, my name is Karen Jacobs, Tactical Team for the Protection of Animals.
Karen, we don't take repeat
Okay.
testimony, so if you have something else, you can email it to us, but I'm not going to get in to open it back up to everyone again.
Okay, so I cannot speak again.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment. Again, if there's more, come on up and get in line.
For the record, Joe Blakeslee, just speaking for myself and maybe a little bit on the trapping thing since fur bearer management was brought up. There's a lot to say. A lot of it's been said. I'm not going to repeat much of it other than the obvious slippery slopes. We have banquets, raffles, auctions, a lot of things that come very close to what we're talking about today that are involved in our culture. This isn't about hunting, it's not about contests, it's about cultural intolerance. It's about one culture that has no use for another culture. If you peruse the Facebook sites, you'll see that agriculture is in there, trophy hunting is in there, among other things. The quota and tag thing that was brought up about fur bearer management is, in my opinion, a way to reopen the trapping thing through this petition. Which brings up my final point, which I think is my most important point. Most of the members of this commission remember the trapping committees. We went for a year, and what did we have, like 12 meetings where we just threw bombs at each other? I estimated that the cost of those trapping committee meetings was probably somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000. By the time we had legal draft proposed regulations, we ferried everybody around the state. You know, we took law enforcement, we took staff, we took commissioners. I know what it cost the Trappers Association to go to all these meetings, and it was a lot of money. This is what I see happening again if you accept this petition. I think this is a pretty easy thing to deny and get on to other business and forget this nonsense. Thank you.
Hi, Carolyn Stark from Incline Village. I am here to ask that you support the petition. Coming to these meetings over the years, the commissioners always say that you base everything on science first. Based on science alone, you must support this position. It's been clearly shown that coyote contests create worse problems. I am sure that things can be drafted so that the slippery slope that the sportsmen are concerned about can be eliminated or not part of it. This isn't about fishing derbies. This isn't about contests. This is about coyote killing contests, at least in my opinion. We put a lot of stuff into the calves testimony as well. We all know that all of the calves, 99% of the calves are sportsmen, have hunting licenses. So it's not representative of the state of Nevada. Less than 3% of the people in the state of Nevada hunt. And I would imagine that the majority of the hunters subscribe to ethical hunting and fair chase practices. Coyote killing contests are not fair chase. They are not ethical. And I would imagine that less than 1/2 of 1%, or even less than that, of the hunters participate in these killing contests. So ask that you represent the majority of the people in the state of Nevada, the majority of the sportsmen that are ethical and fair chase, subscribe to fair chase, and at least vote to have this petition move forward so that we can have more dialogues and thank you.
Okay, additional comments in Reno? Come on up. The line has progressively moved back, but come on up, folks. Keep things moving.
Good afternoon, Mel Belding, Washoe County. I attended a meeting at the Humane Society last month, and I asked one of the petitioners what it was going to take, what's going to make you happy. And he very boldly told me that he wanted my traps, my guns, my 4-wheel drive, and he wanted to shove them up my posterior. I believe that's what's here. I believe that's what this whole thing's about. Last time we heard about coyote killing. That's the truth, what I just told you. You're gonna shove it up my, I think we need to deny this petition. I think it's very overreaching and it's not needed. Thank you.
Miles Humphreys for the record. Before I get started, I want to, being part of the Washoe Cab, to correct something that was said earlier. Ms. Smith, representing the Washoe Cab, needed to be corrected as we were not in favor of rejection being 2-1 instead of what she said, 2-3. First thing, but Representing myself, on the Project Coyote, the very first sentence says, the most general reason to prohibit wildlife killing contests is that hunters and wildlife managers believe, as a community. Now, who's representing the community? And is it the antis with their petition that are representing? So it's very, very vague and it's very broad in the sense that it says as a community. Then it goes on to say that killing animals without adequate reason is unjustified and unsportsmanlike. Unjustified. Now, who's saying that it's unjustified? There could be many people in this room that are saying that it's justified, that they're doing their duty to, whether it be depopulate or take care of some of those predators that are in the surrounding communities. So there can be a justification. And then unsportsmanlike goes on, a definition of sportsman that I read at the Washoe Cab. A man who takes part in the sports, especially as a professional. And then another definition, a man who hunts wild animals as a pastime. Another definition. Third definition that I could find on it, a man who engages in sports, especially in some open air sports, as hunting, fishing, racing, etc. So, again, who is claiming that it's unsportsmanlike when the definition clearly says a different thing? And one other thing that I would like to state on, it says fair chase. And fair chase, as defined by the Boone and Crockett Club, is ethical, sportsmanlike, Well, the Boone and Crockett talks about fair chase. Boone and Crockett also specifically concentrates on big game animals. A coyote is not a big game animal. So, in my own personal opinion, I would strongly suggest that, with the cab saying so, that they deny this petition. And one other thing that I heard earlier that I'd like to touch on with the cabs, that the people don't reach out to, the cab members don't reach out to the community.
Miles, you got 10 seconds. Keep it to the petition, please.
Okay, I'll finish there. Thank you.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Jana Hofeditz. I am here representing myself as well as Project Coyote Nevada. I'm here in favor of the petition being accepted to view and look at. I was going to read my cards and I was going to follow that, but everything is telling me to just speak from my heart right now. From what I'm seeing, it's the second time I've gone in front of you guys. Last time was last March. And if I'm not mistaken, aren't you guys supposed to represent all people in the community to at least look at what's being proposed and have a closer look at it before you sit here and say we deny that? This is all to look at, to just get an idea of what's really going on, to take your time separate from just sitting up here on a stage where no one really has the time, none 8 of you, to sit here and have an opinion without really taking your time to think about this. You're going to make a decision on this today? I think so. Okay, so what I'm saying is, since you have to make a decision on it today, understand that you will need more time to at least look at this before you make a decision. So that's what I'm asking of you to do today. To say, hey, we need more time than just to sit here on the stage for tables for 3 hours or whatever before you make a decision on something that's important. And I live in Palomino Valley. I've been out there about 30 years. I live off grid. I know coyotes really well. Okay, I've lost a cat to one. I didn't go out and kill a coyote just because I lost a cat. It's my responsibility once we bring domesticated animals into the wildlife area, which we all love wildlife, to watch our animals, to not go, oh, something killed my dog, I got to go out and kill something just to retaliate. They were here first. They are part of the system. I like ethical hunting. We all heard this crap before, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But I'm asking you, please, today, in honor of just being a representative of the people of this area, please take a little more time than just today to look at this issue before you make a decision, please. Okay, and thanks very much.
Next public comment, Reno. Come on up. Like I said, our line's lagging, so if you want to make a statement, come on up to the podium and we'll get you taken care of. Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Chairman, commission members, my name is Alan Solini, and I support the petition. These contest kills are not hunting. No matter how you dress them up, they're bloodbaths for entertainment. I know it will take courage for you to support a ban on these killing contests, the ones we're talking about. People you know have told you Second Amendment rights, hunting rights, or other freedoms are all at risk. It's a slippery slope. Give them an inch and they'll take a mile, and so forth. But they're wrong. This has to do with recognizing our responsibility to treat all wildlife with respect. Whether you hunt or not, the idea of going out into our beautiful Nevada landscape and killing as many animals of a given species as possible for social fun, prizes, and bragging rights is repulsive. Ask yourself, if you have a God, would he create any species for this purpose? Killing contests have no place in modern wildlife management. Real sportsmen have higher values. I believe that. Killing contests are ethically, morally, and scientifically indefensible. You should be proud to stop them. Thank you.
Next comment.
My name is Marcus Ariano, and I strongly ask that you guys reject this petition. Growing up in a small Nevada rural town, if you guys could see what coyotes really do to, it could be livestock, it could be wildlife, they're devastating to a lot of people's livelihoods. I would like to invite any one of these people out here to come with me during calving season and watch coyotes rip apart calves. I've watched them eat a calf coming out of the womb of a cow, right in, middle of January. That's when calves start coming out. I'd like to invite any one of these people to come with me and watch this. If they could watch this, I really think that it would kind of change their opinion on coyotes. I feel like these people have not really seen, they just kind of see that people go out and kill coyotes and they don't like that. But when they have really seen this happen, I feel like it's going to change their opinion, and that's why I'd like to invite anybody out to come watch this happen with me. I'm a coyote hunter. I've been doing this for probably 5 or 6 years now. I've gotten really into it. I really ask that you guys do what you think is right for Nevada's wildlife and ban this or reject this petition. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bryce Yearman. I was born and raised in Nevada, and I would ask you guys to deny this petition. They say that the sportsmen don't respect these animals that they're taking, and that is a matter of opinion, because I was raised by my father to respect every animal that we take. I participate in coyote hunting events, and I participate in coyote hunting, and I just ask that you guys please deny this.
Come on up.
Good afternoon. Ted Spalding, former naturalist with the East Bay Regional Park District in the Bay Area. Also a middle school science teacher. I spoke last time. I wasn't really prepared. I prepared a lot more, but the science does seem to support accepting this petition. The legality seems to support the rights of the hunters to continue doing what they're doing. It does seem to be a moral, ethical issue, which is hard for everyone. We all have our own opinions. I'm also a former hunter. I've given it up for several reasons, but they aren't really pertinent today. Although cultures change and morality has changed also. Just saw this thing on TV the other day about breeding trophy bucks on private game reserves in Texas, where for 15, 20,000, you go out and get a pretty good size buck. They're also spending a lot of money on genetically engineering. So, hunting's changed. Used to commute to work going through hunting clubs down in the Sacramento Valley. And the hunters, field hunters out shooting pheasants, not a whole lot of pheasants left. So they're raised on farms and released in front of the hunters and their dogs. So we do have a lot of changes. And a point of interest, historically speaking, the range of the coyotes, to my understanding, was confined to the Great Plains. They didn't spread the range from coast to coast, up into Canada, down into Mexico. But our own pioneering spirit and the elimination of other competing predators settling the land has enabled coyotes to thrive. They're an adaptable species. They will be around, probably long after people. Another point. In fact, the last report was that they're on the other side of the Panama Canal. I don't know if that's true, but they will be around. And I don't think the science seems to support that it's just going to increase numbers. I don't know what the answer is. It's up to you guys to decide, but I would like to see accept this petition. Pardon me. It's not coming from me. It's not anti-hunting. My buddies right now are up at elk camp in Montana. I used to go with them, but times have changed and reasons also changed. Is there any chance of a compromise? Could there be a coyote, instead of killing or calling, coyote calling contest? I don't know the whole procedure that hunters go out and take part in these contests, but can you back it up with video evidence? Or is there something that can be done that would satisfy everybody, get them the social contacts, the camaraderie, and all that is extremely valuable. But my opinion would be to accept this petition and see where it can take us from here. Thank you.
Excuse me. Hello, Karen Taylor, Washoe County resident. I'm here representing Nevada Wildlife Alliance. You may be thinking about some of the anger and the criticism that you would receive if you actually supported the petition. After all, the people who opposed the petition have only offered us today fear coupled with innuendo, and now we have information that people are selling furs from these events. Hopefully they have a license to do so. I suggest that you look to the two CAB members who did vote in favor of the petition. They bravely faced anger, they bravely faced derision, and in one case, personal attacks for doing what was right for wildlife, according to the science and ethical considerations that were brought forward in the meeting. You cannot keep denying the rights of Nevadans who want to treat and manage wildlife according to best practices and according to the science. You can't keep denying our rights because of the anger and the fear of other people. We demand that wildlife killing contests be banned according to the science and the ethics that have been presented. Thank you.
My name is Janelle Richards, and I'm here representing myself. I actually support the petition. I'm not going to go through what everybody else has already said, but I have come to many of these meetings since I've become involved in animal activism. And it just bewilders me when I do come to these meetings, because I've come here today really kind of angry because I would bet my house on what you are all going to come up with in your when you vote. We know that most Nevadans do not hunt. Less than 3% of Nevadans hunt. That's the state. Government is supposed to represent the people. Why is it that you are constantly supporting the hunters? Why is it that the Department of Wildlife is not around to support wildlife? It's around to support hunters. And I know I'm angry about this, and it's constantly coming up, that every time we come before you all with animal-oriented issues, the animals lose. And wildlife should be protected by you. If most of Nevada does not hunt, and if you had an opportunity to survey then most of Nevada, I bet you would find out that most of Nevada does not want coyote killing contests. So look at who you represent. Who are you supposed to represent? And whether you're hunters or not should not have anything to do with it. You should be here representing what people want in this state. And they want wildlife to be protected and treated humanely. This is barbaric, it's useless, it's just absolutely horrible. And people in this state will not want this and do not want this. So do the right thing. Support this petition and let the animals win for a chance. You surely have a little bit of compassion in your heart for animals, and this would be a good time to bring that out. Thank you.
Additional public comment, Reno? This is the last call. There's a lot of folks in here who haven't spoken, so I just want to make sure you have the opportunity. One more? Okay.
How you doing? My name is Jeff Wooden, resident of Washoe County. I'm opposed to this hunting, ban on this hunting thing, mainly because I was born, raised on a ranch back in Nebraska and stuff. I know what coyotes do. My sons are hunters. I have 3 sons, 2 are hunters, 1 is not. And when it's not a hunter, he has no problem with us doing our hunting thing. It's just that these people, no, don't get me wrong, folks, everybody has own ideas, but until you see the reality of what coyotes do and what happens, you live in a city, you don't know. I just got choked up on this thing here, sorry about that. I had a good friend who his daughter got bit by a coyote back in Nebraska and stuff, so I have this real hard time with coyotes, so I'm just asking you to not go along with it at this time. Thank you.
Okay, additional comment, Reno? Come on up. Like I said, this is kind of last call, so if you have a comment, please come to the microphone.
My name's Catherine Bricker, and I'm representing myself. I'd like you to accept the petition because, number one, I personally support it, but also because I think the continued dialogue can be beneficial to the polarized groups. I've heard time and time again that people on the other side of the aisle on this issue would like those of us who like the petition accepted to really see what coyotes do. The area I've lived in for 40 years in Nevada is called rural Nevada. I am in the woods daily and deal with coyotes at least weekly and see them. I have 10 years ago gone into the woods to retrieve what I thought was the body of my dog from a pack of coyotes. I was followed into the woods by a man I didn't know whose daughter told him what I was going to do. We were surrounded by a pack of coyotes, and he handed me a large log, and he said, if they come within 6 feet, you handle the ones over here. I'm handling these. To assume that people who want this petition accepted have no experience with coyotes is an incorrect assumption. Many of us do. And we just have a different response to how we want those animals treated. We have domestic pets taken at different times in the area I live. We have periods of time where the children are not allowed to play outdoors because the coyote problem has cropped up, and it's cyclical. It comes, but we manage differently, and it goes. It doesn't stick around. So I think that we do need to continue dialogue on this issue, and I do think that there can be some compromise. I am concerned about recruitment into the hunting industry, and I think there are certain products and services in any industry that have a shelf life. And I would really ask those of you who do care about the future of the hunting industry and recruitment into it, if you're on one hand trying to market the hunting industry with some rather admirable new concepts like the local foods movement, etc., at the same time is a killing contest and the way that these events appear to the public. Is this helping recruitment? Is this helping your industry? Because I do agree times are changing, and the number one characteristic of an endangered species is that it's unable to respond to changing environmental mediators. It doesn't have the behavioral flexibility. I would suggest to you that the sportsmen could exterminate themselves by not recognizing when you're not responding to changing societal norms and allowing unnecessary and rampant killing. It is revolting. And that is not coming from a person who is not experienced with coyotes. I am. Thank you.
Okay. Again, last call in Reno for public comment. All right, seeing none, I'm going to do a last call in Las Vegas. Have we added anyone to the room that hasn't spoken? No? Okay, I have a note here that Elko may have added some folks. So Elko, do you have additional public comment on item number 6 regarding the petition?
Yes, we have additional comment.
For the record, my name is Eva Winder. I'm speaking on behalf of myself. With Mr. Muldoon's speech, he said he was speaking on behalf of all public. Myself and am part of that public and have never given him permission to speak on my behalf with this petition. I find it asinine that Mr. Muldoon is trying to get rid of a pastime that the hunters use, an event that the hunters use as a pastime to spend with family members. The coyote calling contest, people use the calls to call the coyotes in. If the coyotes don't like the calling, if the coyotes don't like the calls, then the coyotes don't come in. What I don't understand with Mr. Muldoon's speech is, why is he speaking on behalf of all public when there's other people in the public that he can't represent? I thank you for your time, and I vote that you deny this petition.
Okay, additional public comment, Elko?
No further comment.
All right, with that, I think we've concluded our public comment.